Joyce, did you want to introduce our guest? Because I think you're the one that had a really good idea. Did you want to do that?
I'm glad to.
Okay. You don't have to, but I just thought you might want to.
Actually, I'm not sure I have to introduce Dave Ochsendorf because I think a lot of people in this room already know him very well. But Dave is the owner of Siesta Key Physical Therapy. And gosh, Dave, how long have you been here on the Key?
13 years this week.
13 years. Oh, are we having an open house?
We should.
So they are in the village, if you haven't had the opportunity to use their services. And so Dave and his wife have the Siesta Key Physical Therapy. And I guess I'll just let you come up and start your presentation.
Excellent.
Okay, thank you.
If you need to move this in front, if you want to demonstrate, you can walk with it. It's got a pretty good cord, just so you know, you have flexibility there if I can get it back. Okay, there you go.
I'll start here and then can move to the front later in the presentation. Thank you guys for having me, and thank you guys for coming. Hopefully we share some useful information here, but as Joyce mentioned, we opened our clinic in the village 13 years ago, and so we see what you would expect a physical therapy clinic would see in this island, in this demographic, a lot of hip and knee replacements and shoulder surgeries and back pain and neck pain, but we definitely see a lot of gait and balance issues and a lot of people that have fallen. And so we see injuries from those falls, but we also see people that are worried about falling and want to improve their balance or prevent a fall. So that's a little bit about what I'm going to talk about today, give you some tips and then some ways to screen and see if you might be at risk for falling, and some exercises that might be of use to prevent falls. So on your handout there's some facts about falls, and some of these statistics are staggering. 1 out of 3 older adults fall each year. So, if you're sitting there and you look to your right and you look to your left, one of you could be falling in the next year. So, and the biggest thing about the falls that I wanted to mention is that, one fall can be really a devastating event. So I tell the story a lot, how we have people that come into the office to work on their gait or balance or to not fall. But the first thing they'll tell us is, so can you teach me how to get up when I fall? And they say, I'm on the floor and I'm not sure how to get up. And so that's what they want to start with. And I'm thinking, you're thinking about this all wrong. We don't want to have one single fall, and you've been really lucky if you've fallen and not been injured. We probably all know somebody who you can think of that after they had a fall and a significant injury, maybe a hip fracture or a shoulder fracture, or that they really had a hard time recovering after that, and it was really a big event for them, and you see a big decline after that, and they don't really regain their mobility and their independence, their functional mobility and independence to the level where they were before. So my other point about that is that once you fall, even if you're not injured, you often develop a fear of falling again. So then you become more sedentary and less active, and then you lose strength and you become more deconditioned, and you're at even more of a risk for falling.
You'll have a notification.
So that's where I think this is helpful to teach people some exercises and some ways to stay active that are safe so that you don't lose strength and become deconditioned. All right, so on your sheet, there's a list of safety tips to avoid falls, and I don't want to take up too much time, but I definitely want to highlight some of these. The number one point that I made on there is that if some healthcare provider has suggested an assistive device for you, like a cane or a walker, you should use it. There's probably a reason that they recommended that, and you probably do need it. And so this goes for anybody who has a little bit of a deviation when you walk. You know, that's a sign that you could lose your balance easily, or you could be putting stress on your back. And a simple cane can give you another point of stability to help with that deviation and also to prevent a fall. And a lot of times, if the doctors aren't sure, they'll refer you to physical therapy to let the physical therapist do an assessment of your walking and your balance and make a determination on which device is appropriate for you, a cane or a walker. There's different types of canes, there's different types of walkers, and they need to be appropriately fit to your size and to your needs. So that's something that physical therapy does regularly and can help you with. Obviously, footwear is important. You know, sensible shoes, right? You want something that's supportive but has good traction and isn't going to contribute to the problem and make you lose your balance. Some of the tips here were shoes without a back can be unstable. Try to avoid walking in socks or slippers or stockings that don't have good tread, where you could be slippery on a hardwood floor, a tile floor, and cause a fall. Keep your hands free. Use shoulder straps on your purse or a fanny pack so that you have a point to catch yourself or to stabilize yourself if you're starting to lose your balance. Lighten up your purse. Leave unnecessary papers, books, bottles of water, etc. at home. We have some hooks on the wall in the clinic where when people come in, they'll hang up their purse or their jacket, and we have some women will walk in with their purse and we'll say, "Would you like me to hang that up for you?" And they'll say to us, "Yeah, I hope it doesn't pull down the rack." And I think we've seen that, right? Try not to rush. In your home, I think most people have a cell phone now, and you have that on you, so you're not running to the phone or rushing around the house. That's a good tip. And then we're going to talk about the balance exercises that you can perform daily to work on your balance. When you're getting up from sitting or lying down, pause, sit there for a minute when you change positions, make sure you're not dizzy before you walk or before you stand to walk. Use a grabber to grab things that are out of your reach. You know, if you have to really bend over and get behind a piece of furniture, it would be easy to lose your balance. I just had a vision in my mind of something that I don't have on here that has been a big referral source for us and a big source of injuries this year, and that's pickleball. And we have individuals who haven't done anything athletic in 20 years, and they get invited out to the pickleball courts and topple over the net, or we've seen a lot of shoulder fractures, wrist fractures, Achilles ruptures, a lot of injuries on the pickleball court. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't enjoy pickleball or it's not appropriate for you, but make sure that you're fit enough before you head out there. Carpets and rugs, I think there's many people have heard about this. Having throw rugs around your house that are trip hazards is a no-no, and that you want to have something that won't move and that is not too raised to where it would catch your foot and cause you to trip. The same goes for if you go in an office building or a medical building. Some of those floors can be very slippery, and they have the carpeted runners that you should stay on, especially if you have a cane or an assistive device, where you'll be the safest on those runways. Try to declutter. Keep your pathways around your home wide and free and easy to navigate. Make sure that your pathway from the bed to the bathroom is clear, that you have the appropriate lighting there so you can see where you're going. Watch out for electrical cords. Same thing for stairwells. You want those well lit. Bathrooms should have grab bars around your tubs and toilets, and make sure that the surface of your shower, your bathtub is not slippery. And then some other things in another category that we don't often think about is that many medications can cause dizziness or balance problems. This could be beta blockers, this could be diuretics, people end up dehydrated and you end up dizzy from that. So there's a lot of medications that on the bottle it says may cause dizziness, and we probably have a couple of those a year where individuals are suddenly dizzy and don't understand why, and then we trace it back to a certain medication that they're on or a recent change in their medications. Have your vision checked regularly. You get a lot of visual feedback. Your three main balance systems are your eyes, your inner ear, and your vestibular system that kind of keeps your equilibrium. And then, of course, all the feedback that you get from your muscles and joints and ligaments and tendons in your body. Your musculoskeletal system is constantly sending signals back to your spine and to your brain to tell you how to correct for any loss of balance. Last thing I had on there was have your bone density checked regularly and talk to your doctor about any osteoporosis treatment, prevention, or medications to help you survive a fall potentially. And, you know, when bones become osteoporotic to a certain level, people will have a hip fracture and it's unclear at the hospital, did they fall and break their hip, or were they walking and the hip broke and then they fell? Mm-hmm. So it can get to that level if you have significant osteoporosis. So that all makes sense, right? So I'm going to talk about a couple of quick screens that we do to see if you might be at risk for falls, and some statistics that go along with that. And then we're going to maybe try some of these exercises. And so in the screening category, when I am looking at evaluating somebody with a gait or a balance problem, and I ask them to stand on one leg, the cutoff for me is around 5 seconds. If you can't stand on one leg for 5 seconds, that makes me a little bit nervous. And somebody who is really afraid to pick up one leg and be on one leg, I think, does not have great balance. So, and there's actually numbers out there that say when you're in your 50s, you should be able to balance on one leg for 40 seconds. When you're in your 60s, you should be able to balance on one leg for 20 seconds. When you're in your 70s, 10 seconds. And then I think, you know, we don't have data beyond that, but as I said, I like to see 5 seconds, or you should be working on your balance or potentially have a cane or an assistive device. There's another test where you stand still on both feet and then you close your eyes. And standing with your eyes closed on 2 feet, you should be steady. If you're not, that's a positive test for a balance problem. Okay, so you should be able to stand 30 seconds to a minute, eyes closed, no problem. So maybe take down some of these numbers and screens, and if you have a way to do them safely with a partner, you know, or anytime you're doing a balance test, you want to have something to hold on to, or you want to be in a corner or at a countertop or with a partner who can stabilize you and make sure that you're not going to fall over while you're trying the test. Another test that we can do in a moment when we try some of these exercises is getting up and down from a chair 5 times. We want to see you be able to do that in 14 seconds. Okay, so that's a good test for fitness. Or another one of those risk factors where if you're not able to get up and down from a chair 5 times, then that could be a sign at least of some weakness, if not a fall risk. Okay. And then we have some other balance tests that we do in the clinic with you. We have a little confidence survey that we have you fill out to see how confident you are in your balance and your risk for falls. And then we have a balance test called the Berg balance test, where we take you through a bunch of different tests and check to see how your balance is. It gives you a score, and then we know the score, what your score is, and whether you should have an assistive device or whether you're at risk for falling. There's another test called the timed up and go, where you stand up from a chair and you walk 10 feet and come back to the chair, and that's something that we should be able to do in 10 seconds. So these are some of the screens that we do in the clinic, and I think for the purposes of you at home, trying to see if you can stand on one foot at the countertop, or trying to see if you can stand with your eyes closed, is a good quick screen. So we're gonna go into a couple of exercises that I think are safe to do at home, and I'll demonstrate a couple of these tests. Before I get into that, did that raise any questions on anything that I've said so far, or does anybody have any points to make or questions to ask yet?
Dave, one question.
Sure.
Standing on both feet with your eyes closed.
Yes.
How many seconds are you supposed to be able to do that in?
So on our balance test in the office, when we do that, we look for people to do that for a minute. No, sorry.
I'm probably on 30 to 60 seconds.
No, sorry. I was thinking of the one where you stand in tandem with one foot in front of the other. For standing with your eyes closed, it's 10 seconds. So I told you wrong before when I said 30 to 60 seconds. It's 10 seconds.
Well, I'm glad we got that clear.
Yeah.
I was already home trying.
Yeah. So 10 seconds, standing with your eyes closed. You do not have to be on one foot, just standing on 2 feet with your eyes closed, okay? I tried to build in a joke with the sergeant about how they do it outside the beach club, but he's gone and I forgot about that. Okay, now, there was one question. Any others? Okay, so, yes,
Yeah,
Amy.
David, you were mentioning in here about like a shower mat or something like that.
Yes.
But there is a company that will now coat the surfaces, and it's really great. You can't slip no matter how hard you try.
Okay, you've tested it. Yeah. Do you have that, Amy? Yeah.
Our son had that put in.
Excellent, way to go, John. And so, do you have that information that you could share with everybody, or maybe John?
Where did John go?
We'll get that from him, and then anybody who wants that can reach out to you.
Yeah, I've forgotten the name of the company, but they came out and did both of our showers.
Excellent, I love it. I'd love to have that information too.
You can't use anything other than soft scrub with bleach.
Okay.
For the flooring part.
Okay.
I guess you could damage it.
Right.
It's really, really great, because you just don't feel like anything could make you slip there.
Oh, fantastic. I like the sound of that.
One more thing,
Sure.
talking about showers. Not everyone has grab bars
Yeah.
in the shower. Or if you have them at home and you're traveling, when you go someplace else and they don't have them, there are portable suction cup grab bars, they're about this big, that you can travel with and use the suction cup on the wall in the shower, and then you just pull the button.
Sometimes they just come on.
No, the ones that I've seen, I had to figure out how to get. A guest at our resort brought it with her, and then she called and said, I left them in the shower. So I went in to get them, and they didn't come on. I had to really look at it, and there was a little button on the bottom that released the suction, and these things were so strong.
It's so smart.
So I'm just thinking it's something to keep in mind if you're traveling.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not all hotels have them, not all hotels have
And-
grab bars.
And another option in that scenario would be probably to request a shower chair if you're at a hotel or somewhere. I think don't be afraid to use a shower chair if you don't have a grab bar or you're not feeling steady in the shower, for sure. Because so many falls happen in the shower or the bathtub, getting in and out of the shower or the bathtub.
Or you're traveling to your kid's house and they don't have grab bars.
Yeah, good point, good question. Okay, so let me demonstrate a couple things here. Does it seem good on the Zoom there for everybody so far?
I understand.
Dave, the microphones will make the alpha.
Oh, okay. I see. Excellent. Okay, so if you look on the back of your sheet of paper with the exercises, the first exercise on there is getting up and down from the chair. Now, a really interesting fact about this exercise, they have found that individuals who can get up and down from a chair without their hands are far less likely to, number one, have a fall, or number two, have a hip fracture. So that's a great test of your fitness, if you will. So that's a great exercise to practice that, for those of you that have been to the office, know that we do a lot of that. and another point with that is that when it starts to become difficult to get out of a chair is when people become less active, right? You'd rather just sit. And we were talking about this at the office today, and a group of seniors that had all gathered in Shasta Cove where the trick-or-treating was, and the one woman who was in physical therapy today pointed out that her friends would not get out of the chair. Anytime anyone walked by, they would ask for, can you grab me a drink, or can you get this for me? And she said that, you know, they've become so sedentary. And so, you know, that kind of hits home with this point, in that, you know, if you practice getting in and out of a chair every day, and in the office we'll have people practice, say, 10 repetitions getting up and down from the chair. And for some people that's difficult, and we have the little Airex pads or cushions that will build up the chair a little bit higher, and we'll keep practicing that until they're stronger, and then you take the cushion away, and then you can work on getting down to be able to get up from a standard height chair without your hands. So that's sort of phase one of that exercise. And then I mentioned that a good fitness test is, can you do 5 times up and down from the chair in 14 seconds? So these are things that we work on in physical therapy, and things that you could practice on your own at home and to test yourself. So we won't make everybody get up and down from the chair, but anybody is welcome to try to test themselves getting up and down from the chair, either 1 time or 5 times without their hands. Because you might be curious how difficult that is for you, or how easy it is for you. All right, way to go.
Is it okay if you get lightheaded at 30?
Yes. No, seriously, yeah, if you do a bunch in a row, you may get lightheaded, yeah. Yeah. Okay, take a break. Very good. Yeah. So,
how often should we do that?
so I like to do that once a day.
Once a day.
Practice. You know, say, for example, 2 sets of 10. And in the beginning, if you need to use your hands, you can do that until you get a little bit stronger, and then try not using your hands. Okay. So John, were you out for a second? Did you step out for a second? We were looking for you about the surface for the, you got it? You looked it up? Awesome, thank you. And then, okay, so next on our list, I touched on this before, is you can stand at your countertop. So anybody who wants to test themselves and try this, you can stand behind your chair so you have something to hold on to. And we're gonna see if you can balance on one leg for a second or two. But please, everybody, be safe. If you're not able to do that, have a chair or a partner. All right. You should be, yeah, way to go, Bob. Okay. So I was saying that I'd like you to be able to do that for 5 seconds. For seniors. And yeah, I'm looking. Yeah. Okay. Very good. So, and then there's the other one where if you're standing at the chair, and please don't put yourself at risk here, but there's the other one where if you were standing with your on 2 feet, and can you close your eyes and not lose your balance?
Who's gonna
Okay.
verify? We're all had our eyes closed.
Yeah. Okay, very good. So nobody fell and doesn't need to come in for physical therapy. That's good. So as far as exercises go, continuing on, being at a countertop or the back of a chair, keeping your ankles strong and rising up and down on your toes. So normal strength is to be able to stand on 1 foot and go up and down 20 times, holding on to something. So if you're really having a hard time getting to 10 repetitions, for example, you could use some strengthening in your ankles. Yeah, 1 at a time. Yeah, just you can check both sides, and maybe you have a strong ankle and a weak ankle.
Yeah, I've got a very hard on this one, but not on the other one.
Yeah. Did you have an injury on that side or did you know that you have a weaker side?
I think I do.
Yeah. Okay, so if you found a weak side, that's a side that you could work on. And then the next exercise I have on there, and it does not have directions or instructions by it, it's just a picture, and it shows somebody doing what looks like a march in place. And so, any guesses on why marching might be a good exercise to prevent falls?
Because you're balancing on one leg at a time.
That's one thing. That's a very good point, and that's one reason that we do that a lot. It's not the reason I was thinking of. You're strengthening your hips? Yes, because I think you're thinking like I am, Joyce, and that people don't pick up their feet, and you catch your toe. And so when you are working on marching, that reminds you to pick up your feet when you walk. And for people that have had knee replacement surgery or hip replacement surgery or a lot of different things where we're practicing getting their walking pattern back, it's amazing how if they're limping or they have some kind of gait deviation, if we have them march in place 10 or 15 times and then walk, it really smooths out their gait pattern. So that's an exercise, and since I didn't write anything on there, if you want to make a note to just march in place 20 times. And now we have 2 exercises left on here. One is kicking your leg out to the side. And so this, when you kick your leg to the side, strengthens the muscles on the side of your hip. So I'm going to demonstrate here. We have probably all seen this, and we may have some in the room. Somebody with a bad hip will walk, and whenever they're on 1 foot, the hip kicks out to the side, right? So it's this kind of walk. And that's because those muscles on the sides that are supposed to hold your pelvis and your hips level when you stand are weak. So if you see somebody walking and the hip kicks out to the side like that, that's because those side muscles are weak, and that's the purpose of doing the leg exercise of kicking to the side. It works the one that you're raising, and it works the side that you're standing on. So a great exercise that we do a lot of, and I think important for walking and mobility and stability when you're walking and when you're on your feet. Super important to be able to be strong on the sides for anything that's done on 1 foot, stairs, marching. So that's the same idea where I didn't write anything on there. You could do 10 or 20 kicks on each side. And these are things where I tried to make the picture where you're holding on to something, a countertop or the back of a chair. And then for really fit individuals that's easy, we have a band, you get rubber bands that you put at the knees or at the ankles, and give yourself some resistance to strengthen those muscles. And then the last exercise is just a postural exercise. We want you to be able to stand tall, look straight ahead when you're walking. So we have just pinching your shoulder blades together when you're standing. 10 to 20 good squeezes to remind you to stand up straight with your head high and look ahead where you're walking. So that's more of a postural exercise. So those 6 little things, you could work on your leg strength with up and down from the chair. You can really work directly on your balance by trying to go on one foot in a safe place, countertop or a corner or somewhere where you have something to hold on to. Keep your ankles strong by rising up and down on your toes. The picture doesn't show holding on to something, but you can hold on to something while you're strengthening your ankles and going up and down on your toes. The marching in place, the leg kicks to the side, and the posture exercise. A good phase 1 safe way to start program to prevent falls. But again, we can do some of these screens for you and put you sort of in a risk category for falling and prescribe more specific exercises, because balance is multifactorial. There's a lot of different things that go into it, and everybody sort of has their own set of issues, right? So that's one thing that in physical therapy, we try to be very personalized and very specific with a program for you. And if you're concerned about it at all, or you know someone who is, your doctor can make a referral for physical therapy. Medicare generally covers physical therapy, so even if it's just a one-time assessment to see if you have an issue and give you some exercises to do at home, it can be worth it, to prevent a fall and to maintain your fitness and your independence for as long as you can. All right, questions? Anything? Any other questions? Must have been very comprehensive and thorough in my discussion.
Good one. How many of you know Dave from having had help from him?
How many people know Dave from having been into the office?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you for your support. I hope it helped.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
We're out and about, aren't we?
Yes, you're out and about. That's good.
We are. And he diagnosed not a back problem, but a hip problem with me 9 years ago, hip replacement, and just 8 weeks ago, my second hip replacement.
Oh, yeah.
And here I am, so thank you, Dave.
You're welcome. I hope you don't need us, but we're always there if you do.
Yes.
Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, thank you, Dave. Thank you so much. Oh, my goodness.
Is that good?
We may have to contract with you to come back, every other month, check on us.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
We have other topics about arthritis and posture.
I think that would be great. Well, you all would come back if he was back here anytime in the future, wouldn't you? Okay, thank you.